Hey everybody, Uta Alexander here with Xander Blades. Welcome to part 3 of the friction folder knife making vlog, which is really hard to say quickly. Today's video we're going to be covering the CAD cam side of things. I've made some progress and I'll show you what I'm up to there in just a second. First I want to give you a really quick update from what's been happening from part 2. So in part 2 we just did a quick overview of the design aspects, some components that we're going to be ordering. Now all those components and the tooling has come in and it's ready to go. But since then what's been the big change is that both Grace and I are now working full-time. I'm working on the farm full-time and both Grace and I are trying to squeeze in work in the morning before work. I try to do about an hour and a half. Lunch times I only have coffee and then we're good to go, and after work as well, after dinner we're back into it, like right now making this vlog. So we've been trying to work our crazy amount of work into that schedule, which has been quite difficult, and we're not getting as much done as we need to, but we'll get on top of it somehow. So that's kind of slowed things down a little bit, which has been really challenging for us in terms of making progress. So yeah, that's been a bit of a okay. So let's jump into Fusion 360 right now and I'll show you what we're up to. Okay, so here we are, Fusion 360. Quick overview. What you're seeing right now is the fixture plate, which is this blue thing right here, and then 4 blades of our friction folder knife on top of that. Now, as you've already guessed by looking at this, I'm going to be milling 4 blades in one go. Now, the reason for this is pretty simple, because our S35VN comes in 2-inch, so 51mm wide bar stock, and out of that I can easily get 4 blades out. It's just going to be more time efficient to do it that way, and it's easier for fixturing as well. So that's why I've decided to do that. 4 blades, and now I just quickly want to explain how, if you're doing a Fusion 360 model, how to get to this point. So this, as you can see, is the model you would have seen in part 2. Slightly different. I've just made a couple of little tweaks. And what I've done is the blade component, which is right here, I've exported it and I have imported it into a new file. From there, if we go into our model and sketch, so here it is. What I did was create a new sketch and projected the body of the blade onto the new sketch, which gave us this profile here. And then from there, I've offset it a little bit on the inside. I think it's 0.5 mil on the inside, and I can't remember what that distance is on the outside. And what that does is, for the fixture, it creates a channel, so clearance channel of where the end mill is going to go. Pretty simple stuff. The way I've constructed this whole fixture plate, oops, sorry about that. The whole fixture plate is the original model, which was in this corner, got mirrored. Oh man, this touchscreen is just driving me nuts right now. It got mirrored up, as you can see. Oh, stop it! Jeez. Okay. Oh man, this is just. Who the hell is Jesse? I don't know. Whatever. So it got mirrored up and then mirrored across, and you can see the two. Oh, there it is. All the mirroring signs. The two axes which they got mirrored at. And then from there I constructed the respective bodies. Now let's jump over into cam real quick and I'll explain what's going to be happening. So let's start at the start, which is the fixture. So let's hide these blades and let's hide our sketch. So this is what our fixture is going to look like. Now the fixture is going to be made from 6061 aluminium, or aluminum as our American friends like to say it. It is a 10mm thick stock. And what I'm going to be doing is drilling a couple of holes which are going to get tapped, and there's going to be an M6 cap screw that I'm going to be using to fixture the knives onto that. So first operation's going to be a spot drill to mark out where our holes are going to go. 5mm drill, so that's the appropriate drill size for an M6 tap. And then with a 3-flute aluminium end mill, we're going to do an adaptive clearing. And if you are interested, I'll just show you. So these are the paths that I've selected, or the contours that I've selected. And as you can see, the excuse me, if it does it, there it is. The toolpath is contained within that, within those contours, which is fantastic. And then I've just got a simple finishing contour with different feeds and speeds. Now, speaking of feeds and speeds, I just want to say that I've gotten all my feeds and speeds basically from GWizard, which is a fantastic program. It's got all sorts of materials in there, and you can set your parameters to suit whatever you're doing. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second as well. So that's our aluminium fixture. That's just going to sit in the vise, and just going to attach our blades onto that, and we're good to go. As you can see, this is our 0 point, or work 0 as well. I don't know if it's relevant or not, whatever. Moving on. So let's get rid of the fixture. The first operation we're going to do in respective to the blades. So this yellow rectangle is going to be our bar stock, and these are going to be the blades that are going to come out of it. So the first operation is going to actually be done separately in the vise itself. So we're going to put the bar stock in the vise, then we're going to spot drill the holes. So you can see that the 5 holes on the outside are actually used for fixturing. That's what the cap screws are going to go into. And then the 4 pivot holes are going to get spot drilled as well. We're going to use a 6mm, which is going to be enough clearance for our M6 cap screws to drill out the 5 fixture holes. And then with a number 13 drill, which is an imperial drill, we're going to just drill the pivot holes. These are actually going to get reamed as well to something. I can't remember what it is. Whatever. Anyway, so once that's done, they're going to come out of the vise, and I'm going to go and 0 my fixture plate into the vise. And then the blades are going to get attached to the fixture plate via the 5 fixture points. And as you can see in my setups on the left here, I've sort of made it pretty much self-explanatory. Blades in the vise, blades on fixture, and fixture. So we're at blades on fixture. As you can see, I've moved the work 0 up onto the stock because I don't have a surface grinder. I don't know what exactly the thickness is going to be for each piece of bar stock. So I've zeroed it to the work itself. It just makes it a little bit easier. Now this is where it gets interesting, and this is what took me so long to get down. So the first one is a contouring operation, and I've called it a ramping contour because, as you can see, it ramps down into the stock. Now, this is good because I'm using a very small end mill, so I don't want it to put heaps of load on the end mill and then snap it, because end mills are expensive, especially carbide ones, which is pretty much all I'm using. So using a ramping contour, it's going to go down 0.7 of a mil is the ramp step down, I think, at a 2-degree angle. And the other cool thing, as you can see in the blue here, I'm going to be leaving these little tabs, which are going to be used to fixture the blades while they're being milled, and then easily be broken off and ground and finished by hand, essentially. Now, you might be thinking, hey, in the last 2 videos, you said you were going to do all of this on the CNC. Things have changed. We've got 2 shows coming up in like 3 months. One is the New Zealand Seeker Show, which is a hunting show, and the other one is the first New Zealand Blade Show. We've got between, like, I'm going to say approximately 30 knives, even though I think it's going to be more than that, to make in the 3 months, so it's going to be pretty crazy. And what we've done is we've prioritized. So instead of spending another 2 weeks doing the CAD CAM stuff for the rest of the knife and then figuring out how I'm going to do the bevels on the CNC, what I'm going to do is just mill the profiles, because what I'm worried about is this channel here, or the raceway. I want that to be accurate, and I want the pivot holes to be accurate. So I'm going to do those on the CNC, hand grind the bevels, and then hand finish the rest of the knife, including the handle. So that's that. So ramping contour, we've talked about that, and then we've got one finishing contour as well. Now, the cool thing is, I mentioned G-Wizard before. That has just been absolutely fundamental to this, because G-Wizard actually has CPM S35 VN in their database of materials, which is awesome, because it also has it in the annealed state and the hardened state, and that affects the speeds, which just blew my mind. It's just so cool. That's so cool. So yeah, those are the speeds that are the feeds and speeds that I've used for the thickness of material and the step down. Oh, and I'll just quickly show you how I did the ramping contour, because if you're like me and you're looking for this stuff, it's kind of hard to find sometimes. So the ramping contour, you go to Linkings tab in your contour operation, and you just check your ramp, and 2 degrees is, I think, the standard. There it is. It gives you explanations. And then the maximum ramp step down I've figured out from G-Wizard, which allows you to do that. Clearance height, just how far the tool comes down to before it starts ramping. And that's that. And then just there's this little tab called tabs, go figure, and that is how you get your little tabs, and I'll show you that in a simulation. And you can actually see where it's going to do the tabs right there, which is fantastic. You can choose what kind of tab you want to have, rectangular or triangular, your tab sizes, heights, positions, etc, etc. That's all really cool. I just want to show you how that's going to look in a simulation, so let's run that real quick. Not right, here we go. Sorry, here we go. Okay, let that run, speed it up a little bit, and start cutting. And as you can see, it's just slowly working its way down. Low chip load. The downside to this is that only the bottom sort of, you know, a little bit, 0.7, dare I say, of the end mill is actually doing the work. So it's kind of a waste of an end mill. So I might play around with that later on, but for now, this is the strategy that I've got it to work like I want it to. So I'm just going to leave it. And if we just fast forward a little bit, so you can see it's leaving these little tabs. Here it is. Here's one. That's obviously going to be in mid-air, but you know, whatever. I don't care. The rest are going to be holding it, so that's fine. And then I'm going to take it off, snap the tabs off, grind them off. One interesting thing to note as well is the way I've set the tabs. There are no tabs in here or here, which will make the cleanup way easier. Fixture blades. Yeah, so I mean that's essentially it, guys. So part 4 is going to be us in the workshop actually machining the fixture and the blades, which is going to be just, oh, I'm so looking forward to it. I've been meaning to get in there. I've actually got a Xbox 360 controller that I've hooked up, a wireless one, that I use now to jog the CNC, which has just been game changer. Also, I just want to say that Grace, by the time this video is out, Grace will probably have finished, because she's working on it right now, her very first knife, which is based on the friction folder design, my design, but it's a fixed blade made from RWL34, and it's looking so good, and she's so much better right now with her first knife than I was when I mean, it took me like years to get to the point where she is right now, so it's blowing my mind, and I'm just so excited to see where she goes with that. And if you want to see how that's progressing, go check us out on our Instagram, and the links will be below. So the work in progress stuff of that is in my personal Instagram, which is Uta_Alexander. And the finished product will be on Xanderblade's Instagram and Facebook as well. I'll put the links to that down below. Yeah. Hey, look, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I know your time is precious, and I just really appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Hey, I'm Uta Alexander with Xander Blades. Thanks so much. We'll catch you in part 4. All right, signing off. Bye-bye. Done.